fraud. His promises are as worthless as a degree from Trump University.
On the story with a CNN political commentator and former communications director for Ted Cruz, Alice Stewart, and also via Skype, Pete Dominick, host of Stand Up on Sirius XM Radio. Great to have both of you with us. Talk about a change. We saw a change in tone there. A change in words, obviously. Alice, what's your sense, and based on people that you've spoken with, what's really happening behind the scenes here? Is this Mitt Romney really vying for a position that he has a valid chance of getting? Or is this Donald Trump putting him through the ringer?
Well, remains to be seen, but clearly, Eric, as we see what a difference 7 months and an election victory makes. Clearly, he is being seriously considered for the Secretary of State spot. And look, for those that, may say that this is Trump's way of putting him through the ringer, he's got plenty of things to do on his agenda to get ready to be the President of the United States than to play some games. So clearly, Mitt Romney is in serious consideration for this. The transition team has made it clear there are 4 finalists for the Secretary of State's position. They have named Mitt Romney and Rudy Giuliani. The other 2 remain to be seen. But clearly, the list has narrowed. Mitt Romney clearly met with him again because they want to continue the discussions and conversations, and having talked about foreign policy, it would lead people to believe that he is in top consideration for this. But at the end of the day, it's Donald Trump's decision. He's got some tough decisions to make, but this is a key appointment in the administration, and I think it's good that he's looking at all people, regardless of what they have said in the past. He's looking at getting the best of the best.
Pete, what is the benefit to a Trump administration to bring in Mitt Romney as Secretary of State?
Well, I actually think it would be a benefit to the country because Mitt Romney's not a lunatic. He's a serious person who has some foreign policy experience. But I disagree with Alice in that anything about this is clear. I mean, Mitt Romney went way out of his way. He gave a speech exclusively for and promoted so that he could hit Donald Trump. He called him a fake, a phony, a con artist. And he was right about all those things, as we're seeing Donald Trump appointing people who are part of the establishment, who are Goldman Sachs, former executives to Treasury, as we just learned. I mean, he is not draining the... He's building Trump Tower in the Everglades. So I wouldn't be surprised by if Donald Trump actually was trying to take revenge. He said, if you hit me, he's been quoted as saying, if you hit me, I'll hit you back 15 times harder. So I don't think there's anything clear at all about any of this.
We are seeing some interesting commentary from some of his most loyal supporters who have been by his side, both during the campaign and now as part of the transition team. So Newt Gingrich actually speaking out in response to some of the tweets that Donald Trump has been sending this week, talking about voter fraud with absolutely nothing to back it up, fact-wise. And Newt Gingrich saying to USA Today, the President of the United States can't randomly tweet without having somebody check it out. It makes you wonder about whatever else he's doing. It undermines much more than a single tweet. We looked at his followers. His followers have grown substantially, even just since the election. He has more than 16 million. That's less than the current president of the United States, a little bit more than the Pope, significantly less than Katy Perry, but, it happens. He's not Katy Perry. Pete, can you take away the Twitter when he actually is inaugurated? Do you have a sense that any of that is going to change?
I don't. I want to believe I do. But by the way, when Newt Gingrich is pushing back on you and saying that you've lost principle, you've definitely got a real problem. And everybody in the media should be demanding evidence for any outrageous claim that Donald Trump makes. And no one should be defending it without evidence, without proof. He's got no proof. But yeah, Donald Trump said he hates the media. He hates all of us that sit in front of cameras or talk on microphones or, God forbid, do old school journalism. He disdains folks in the media. He's talking directly, quote, to his people. I wouldn't equate all of those Twitter followers as supporters. I'm a follower of Donald Trump's, but I'm definitely not a supporter of his. But this is his way of trying to communicate directly to the people and excluding journalists who should be asking him the tough questions, speaking truth to power. He is not press conference, and I don't think that he's going to be doing much with anybody in journalism or any reporters. He's just going to keep on tweeting above everybody's heads.
I should point out, we are trying to ask those questions. In fact, our own Jeff Zeleny even tweeting back to him earlier this week. If you want to show me the facts, we're happy to look at them. We're not getting a response. Alice, as someone who has served as the communications director for Ted Cruz's campaign, I know you said to me in the past you would take that phone away, but the reality is it's not going anywhere. And part of the concern with all those Twitter followers is that when Donald Trump tweets something out that is not correct, that is not based in fact, it gets retweeted. it gets shared. And it gets shared in many cases, not all, but in many cases as fact. How do you counter that message and keep him on message as both President-elect Alice and then later as President of the United States?
Well, just one quick note on that. In my experience, a lot of reporters put out facts on tweet, and they're not factually correct, and they get retweeted as facts. So it goes both ways. Let me just say I am pleasantly
I'm going to take issue with that with
surprised.
our own news organization. Actually, I have to take issue with that because for both CNN and HLN, our reporters do their job so well. So, I mean, if there's ever a cause to retract, they will, but that is not something that we take lightly.
I agree. It's few and far between. I'm just saying that it happens on rare occasion in my experience
He's the
on
president.
Several presidential campaigns. Here's the thing. I have been pleasantly surprised with Donald's restraint since he has been the nominee. I think he needs to continue to use more caution with his tweets moving forward, and if there is some information that's put out there, show some attribution to it. I strongly believe that as he gets closer to the inauguration and takes office, that there will be more oversight on the part of the team with regard to what he does tweet out. But in what he is doing, he feels as though his message isn't getting reported correctly through the press, so he is bypassing the press and getting it directly to the people through Twitter. That's what he did throughout the campaign. Clearly it was successful, and from his standpoint,